Hello everyone, I'm Luigi Rondanini. If you're listening to this, you've probably noticed something different. This isn't David's voice, it's mine, and there's a good reason for that. We've been getting requests, quite a few actually, people asking what's coming in the rest of Season 1 when we're releasing episodes, what topics we're covering, where they can find us beyond Spotify and other marketplaces. So I thought I'd take over the microphone for one episode, give you a behind-the-scenes look at what we're building, what's coming, and maybe share a few stories about the challenges of running a small multimedia production company when your podcast host lives 8 time zones away. First, let me tell you where we are in the series. The Trading Floor is our audio companion to the book David and I wrote together, FX Cash Products, plus a long subtitle. It's the first book in our foreign exchange markets professional series. 5 books total when we're done. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Season 1 covers the entire first book. Spot FX, forwards, FX swaps, non-deliverable forwards, settlement, the complete infrastructure of cash FX markets. We've divided it into parts, logical segments. Each part builds on the previous one. Part 1 was the introduction, episodes 1 through 3, FX market structure, currency pairs, quotation conventions, the foundational concepts you need before anything else makes sense. Part 2 is Spot FX, episodes 4 through 8. You're listening to these after episode 5, so you've heard some episodes already. Episode 6, transaction costs, what you're really paying when you trade FX. Explicit costs, hidden costs, how to measure total cost of execution. Episode 7, Market Microstructure, how the spot market actually works. Liquidity, price discovery, why spreads vary across currency pairs and times of day. Episode 8 closes Part 2, Settlement Risk and CLS, the infrastructure that makes FX trustworthy. Herstatt Bank, why one failure in 1974 changed everything. Part 3 starts with Episode 9. Forwards, the instruments corporations use to lock exchange rates for future payments. Episode 9. Forward contract fundamentals, what they are, how they work, the 5 essential terms, physical delivery versus cash settlement. Episode 10. Forward pricing, why forward rates differ from spot rates, cover interest parity, the relationship between currency markets and money markets, cross-currency basis. Episode 11. Corporate hedging applications, how treasuries actually use forwards, hedge ratios, rolling hedges, policy frameworks. Episode 12. Forward curve construction, building complete term structures, interpolation, broken dates. The practical implementation details that matter. Part 4 covers FX swaps, episodes 13 through 15. These are the workhorse instruments of the FX market, over $3 trillion daily. Episode 13, FX swap mechanics, how they differ from forwards. Tom Next, Spot Next, the instruments banks use for funding and liquidity management. Episode 14, swap pricing and arbitrage. Why swap points exist, how banks price them, the connection to money market funding costs. Episode 15. Swap applications, balance sheet management, funding optimization, how banks and corporates use swaps operationally. Part 5 is non-deliverable forwards, episodes 16 through 18. The instruments used when you can't settle physically, Chinese yuan, Indian rupee, Brazilian real. Episode 16, NDF structure and settlement, how they work, why they exist, cash settlement mechanics, fixing sources. Episode 17, NDF pricing deviations, why NDFs sometimes trade away from deliverable forwards, onshore-offshore spreads, capital controls, market segmentation. Episode 18 closes Season 1, NDF liquidity and execution, market structure, who trades NDFs, how to execute efficiently in less liquid markets. That's Season 1, 18 episodes, the complete first book, everything you need to understand cash FX products professionally. Now let me tell you where you can actually listen to all of this. We are on all major podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. Wherever you normally listen to podcasts, search for The Trading Floor. You'll find us. We also have a dedicated website, thetradingfloor.rondanini.com. There you'll find links to all the marketplaces where you can read the show notes for every episode, links to related resources, the full episode archive, everything organized by series and topic. If you want the written version, the actual book with all the detail, that's available through Rondanini Publishing, you can find it on our main education site, learn.rondanini.com. You can pre-order it and secure a launch price that might go up or down. If it will go down, we will refund you the difference. That's also where we've built specialized mini manuals, about 122 of them, focused guides on specific FX topics, and not only practical, actionable. Things like forward pricing strategies, NDF execution frameworks, hedge accounting for treasury teams. We also have professional Python tools, production-ready code, not academic exercises. These are implementations you can actually use. Forward pricing engines, mark-to-market calculators, hedge ratio optimizers, proper day count conventions, business day adjustments, market convention compliance. Prices start at 99 pence for individual mini manuals. We are trying to make professional grade resources accessible, not just to big banks, to anyone who needs them. If you're a corporate treasury team or a financial institution needing consultancy, I work with clients through rondanini.net. That's my consulting practice. FX risk management frameworks, hedging policy design, execution strategy. I've spent 38 years in financial markets, 10 years trading FX and derivatives across 4 continents. I know what works and what doesn't. David, my co-author and podcast host, brings 35 years of FX experience, dealing rooms in London, Riyadh, Doha, Dubai. He built the first Saudi Riyal FRA and swap markets, established Nostro networks in over 100 currencies, mentored 3 people who became bank CEOs. We combined our experience into this book series, and now this podcast, trying to create something that bridges academic theory and real-world practice. But here's the thing about being a small multimedia production company. It's challenging, especially when your team is scattered across the globe. David is in the Philippines, I'm in the UK, that's 8 hours time difference. When I'm starting my workday at 9 a.m. in London, it's 5 p.m. in Manila. When David's starting his day at 9 a.m., I'm wrapping up for 1 in the morning UK time. This creates interesting coordination challenges. We can't just hop on a call whenever we need to discuss something. We schedule carefully. We use asynchronous communication, a lot of detailed written briefs, voice notes, document collaboration tools. Recording episodes requires planning. David records in Manila, I review and edit in London. We go back and forth on scripts, sometimes 3 or 4 iterations before we're both satisfied. Then there's audio processing, music, publishing, show notes, SEO optimization. We're not a big production company with staff in every time zone. It's essentially David and me, plus the technology that makes remote collaboration possible. Sometimes this works beautifully, sometimes it's frustrating. We've had episodes where David recorded at 6 a.m. Manila time, so we could both be on a review call. I've edited scripts at midnight UK time because that's when I finally got David's feedback. But we make it work. Because we both believe this content matters, that there's a gap in FX education, that practitioners need resources that actually reflect how markets work, not just what textbooks say. And honestly, the time zone challenges are nothing compared to some of the situations we've faced in our careers. David has stories from the trading floor I'm sure he'll share eventually. 2008 crisis, flash crash, Swiss franc floor abandonment. He was there for all of them. I have my own stories. One in particular happened in Riyadh. David doesn't know this story yet. Maybe one day I'll tell it on the podcast. It involved a botched order, a very large botched order, the kind that makes your stomach drop when you realize what happened. This was late evening. Most of London was already closed, New York winding down, and we had a problem that needed fixing immediately. I called Samer, then Nadir, then Vijay. 3 colleagues I trusted completely. We spent the entire night working through it, calling counterparties, negotiating terms, restructuring positions. By 6 a.m. Riyadh time, we'd fixed it. Nobody outside our small group ever knew it happened. The client never found out. The position was corrected. The risk was managed. But it aged me about 5 years in one night. That's the reality of FX markets. Sometimes things go wrong. And when they do, you need people you trust. People who know what they're doing. People who will work through the night to solve the problem. David, if you're listening to this, remind me to tell you that story properly someday, over a drink, preferably several drinks. But that's enough reminiscing. Let me tell you what we are building beyond the podcast. The podcast is part of a larger ecosystem. We call it the Foreign Exchange Markets Professional Series, 5 books, 5 podcast seasons, supporting resources for each. Book 1 is FX Cash Products, that's this season. Book 2 is FX Options and Volatility Trading, that's season 2. 29 chapters, Vanilla Options, Exotics, Volatility Trading. Greeks, Hedging Strategies, we're targeting mid-2026 release. Book 3 is Cross-Currency Swaps and Basis Trading, season 3, 14 chapters, The Instruments Connecting FX and Rates Markets, already written. Release planned for Q4 2026. Books 4 and 5 cover exotic products and risk management frameworks. Those are still in development, but the plan is there, the structure is designed. Each book comes with Python toolkits, complete implementations of pricing models, valuation frameworks, risk analytics. These aren't afterthoughts, they're integral to the educational approach. We've also built mini manuals, shorter focused guides, things like Bloomberg terminal workflows for FX traders, NDF market microstructure, corporate hedging policy templates. These can be purchased separately. The goal is to create resources people actually use, not just read once and shelve, working tools for working professionals. And last but not least, some of you have mentioned the ambient music that David chose for his podcast. That is called, surprise, surprise, The Trading Floor, and is performed by the Neural Syntax Collective, produced by the 0dB Labs music label. Check them out on Spotify or YouTube, or elsewhere 0dblabs.com. And that brings me back to this podcast. The Trading Floor isn't just marketing for the books, it's a genuine educational resource. David explains concepts conversationally that would take pages to write out. He brings practitioner perspective, real trading floor experience, the nuance that only comes from decades of actually doing the work. We release episodes weekly, every week. Consistent schedule, you can rely on it. If you're enjoying the series, please subscribe. That helps more people find it. Rate and review if your platform allows it. Share with colleagues who might benefit. And if you have questions about specific topics you'd like us to cover, reach out. We read everything sent to education@rondanini.com. We can't respond to every email individually, but we do read them all, and they influence what we develop next. We're also on LinkedIn. Both David and I search for David Axtell or Luigi Rondanini. We post about FX markets, trading, risk management, treasury practices, episode releases. You'll find us there. For Twitter users, we are there too. Now, I should probably wrap this up. David will be back next episode, episode 6, Transaction Costs, his voice, his expertise, the format you're used to. I just wanted to give you this overview, show you what's coming, explain how everything fits together, and maybe share a little bit about the reality of building educational resources as a small operation with big ambitions. We're not a major publisher with unlimited budgets. We're two practitioners who decided to document what we know, share what we've learned, create resources we wish had existed when we were starting out. It's challenging, coordinating across time zones, recording, editing, publishing, writing, coding, marketing, all of it. But it's also deeply satisfying when someone emails to say an episode helped them understand a concept they'd struggled with, or that a Python toolkit solved the real problem they were facing, or that they got promoted partly because our book gave them the knowledge they needed. That's why we do this. That's why David records at odd hours in Manila. That's why I edit scripts at midnight in Ealing. That's why we keep building. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for your patience with our small company limitations and your appreciation for what we're trying to build. Next episode, David's back. Transaction costs. How to measure what you're really paying when you execute FX trades. Critical topic. Practical focus. You'll find it valuable. I'm Luigi Rondanini. This has been a special episode of The Trading Floor. For comprehensive coverage of FX cash products, the book David and I wrote is available through Rondanini Publishing. For mini manuals and Python tools, visit learn.rondanini.com. For consultancy on FX risk management, reach me at rondanini.net. David's back next week. See you then.